am Kristen Oakes-White.
And I'm Avery Davidson. Thank you for joining us for This Week in Louisiana Agriculture, the only TV show bringing Louisiana farmers and consumers together every week.
The Mississippi River is looking a lot different in September than the rest of the year. It seemed it was never going to go back to normal, but after 212 days, it finally is.
Believe it or not, some folks are still dealing with the effects. The high river levels have kept away folks who normally make hay on the river's levees. TWILA's Neil Melancon shows us between high water and rainy weather, they've been lucky to get in any work this year at all.
You can see these days that the Mississippi River is way down from where it was just 2 short months ago. It's a big relief for Pete Emel, who works both cattle and hay along these levees.
It's been a tough year. Most farmers in Louisiana have caught trouble this year with the weather. Weather conditions have not been the best for any type of agriculture. With the hay, we've had such a wet spring, wet summer. We're trying to catch up now with our hay production.
It's easy to think that it's easy to grow grass in Louisiana's warm and humid conditions, but turning it into hay is a different matter, according to one of Emel's field hands, Kevin Chenove.
The hay season's been kind of slow. It got off to a rough start, especially for us, since the river's been so high. We were limited as to what hay we could cut on our flat ground just because of the seepage water, but we've been relying a lot on our levees just because it's the only land that's been able to really dry out for us.
Behind Kevin here is grass that's been cut with a high moisture content, then wrapped in plastic left to dry. They've been getting a break here lately on the weather with some drier conditions that helps in making this hay.
We bale it when the hay is at a moisture content of 65 to 40. We cut it green, we wrap it in plastic, and it goes through a fermenting process and turns into haylage, which is like silage in a bale. And it increases the protein value from about what would have been dry hay at about 4 to 5%. It'll run that protein up because it's still got the moisture and the baling it green. It'll bring the moisture up in that hay up to 10 or 12% easily.
Even with the lower river and drier skies, Emel Farms is way behind in haying this year. The Mississippi River has kept them off of these levees, and even in their regular pastures, they've seen sand boils from the river.
Seepage has been pretty steady for months and months now, so we're still having problems with it now. We tried to cut some flat land, but it's too soft. So
Haying is usually wrapping up in Louisiana by September or October, but Pete Emel said they might go as late as November depending on when the first frost is. And guys, one thing I learned on this is just how important nutrients are to the whole haying process. It's why, you know, Louisiana, of course, I mean, you'd expect we could grow grass just about, 365 days a year, and that's almost true, but it's the quality of what happens afterwards that's the issue. The high moisture contact, insect pressure, fungus that can grow in it can all sap those nutrients, and depending on when they cut it, what the moisture level is, I mean, you saw in the story, they have dry hay and they have wet hay, but it all has to be managed so that those cows get the nutrients they need.
Well, it's so much work that goes into it. A lot of people don't realize that most cattle folks are grass farmers.
Yes.
They're just as much farmers as row crop farmers.
Just like any other crop.
And one of the great things they have at the LSU Ag Center is this whole pasture processing thing where they can go, they want you to sample it bit by bit across an entire pasture and then develop a nutrient plan for that. So, I mean, it's exactly what row crop people go through all the time. Yeah. It's just the crop is a little different.
Well, we appreciate you giving us that look at it. Thank you, Neil Melancon.